This is a story about trust and how it went wrong. There's a couple I need to tell you about. Married 31 years. He's a high school principal. She's a librarian. $840,000 in retirement savings. 22 years of packed lunches and maxed out contributions, and a spreadsheet that told them exactly when they could stop. 18 months from retirement. And then a friend from church introduced them to the wrong person. They lost everything. We'll get to that story. But first, you're listening to Broke After Dark. The financial decisions people wish they could undo. 3 stories tonight. 3 people who trusted the wrong voice, the wrong face, the wrong friend. And if you think you're too smart for this, so did they. Subscribe if you want to learn from other people's worst money mistakes, so you don't have to make your own. Let's start with a phone call. It's 7:14 a.m. Dana's phone rings. The screen shows her bank's name. She's 36, a nurse, driving home from a 12-hour overnight shift. Her eyes are burning. Coffee went cold in the cup holder 2 hours ago. She and her husband have been saving for 3 years. Double shifts, packed lunches, no vacations, for a down payment on a house. $52,000 in a savings account. That was the number. She picks up. The man on the other end says he's from the fraud department. Suspicious activity. 2 attempted wire transfers to an overseas account. He's calm, professional. He uses her full name, her address, the last 4 digits of her account number. He says if she doesn't verify her identity immediately, the bank will freeze everything for 5 to 7 business days. She's been awake for 14 hours. She gives him her social security number, her online banking password. He tells her to check her email for a confirmation code, a real 2-factor authentication code from the actual bank, and read it back to him. She does. He thanks her, says the suspicious transfers have been blocked, wishes her a safe drive home. 40 minutes later, a notification. Checking account. 0. She opens the savings account. 0. 2 Zelle transfers and a wire. $52,000. Gone to accounts she's never seen. She calls the real bank. They tell her someone accessed her account using her credentials and her 2FA code. The bank investigates for 3 weeks. Then they deny her claim. The reason? She voluntarily provided her credentials. But here's the thing. Dana didn't do anything most of us wouldn't do. She didn't click a shady link. She didn't invest in some scheme. Her phone rang. It showed her bank's name, and she answered. Caller ID spoofing costs about $5 a month. That's what it takes to impersonate your bank. The scammer already had her basic information from data breaches: name, address, partial account. That data sits in databases someone bought for a few $100. And the 2FA code? The scammer triggered a real code from the real bank's system. She read it back thinking she was protecting her own money. The security system the bank built to protect her was weaponized against her. She appealed the denial. Denied again. Filed a police report. The cybercrime unit was backlogged. 6 months later, the bank's goodwill program returned $9,000. The other $43,000 was gone. 3 years of saving. Erased in a phone call shorter than a lunch break. In 2024, bank impersonation scams cost Americans an estimated $3.4 billion. And most banks take the same position. If you shared your credentials, you authorized the transaction. 2 things you can do right now. First, never verify anything on an incoming call. If your bank calls you, hang up and call them back using the number on the back of your card. Real fraud departments expect this. Second, ask your bank about a verbal password, a separate security phrase a phone representative needs to verify they're legitimate. Most major banks offer it. Almost nobody uses it. $52,000. Gone because she answered a phone call. But the next story? $340,000. And the victim defended the scammer over his own daughter. Richard is 62, retired mechanical engineer. 8 months earlier, he lost his wife of 35 years. Cancer. Brutal decline. His kids were worried about him, sitting alone in the house, barely eating, watching the same shows on repeat. They encouraged him to try online dating, just to talk to someone. He matched with a woman named May, financial consultant working on a contract in Singapore. She was warm, patient, articulate, and she never asked him for anything. They just talked. For 5 weeks, they just talked. About grief, about loneliness, about what it feels like when the person you built your life around is gone. What he didn't know was he was being butchered. That's the term. Pig butchering. The scammer fattens the victim with trust and emotional connection before the slaughter, the moment they push for money. May had a script, a quota, and probably a handler watching over her shoulder. After 5 weeks, she mentioned crypto, an investment platform, steady returns. She wanted to share it with someone she trusted. Richard started small, $5,000. The dashboard showed his money growing within days. He put in another 10, then 20. May never pushed. Something like, only invest what you're comfortable with. I just want us both to have security. That felt safe. And that's when everything went wrong. Over the next 3 months, Richard liquidated his entire 401k, took out a home equity loan against the house he and his wife had paid off together, borrowed $40,000 from his brother. The total hit $340,000. His daughter noticed the change. Secretive, defensive. When she confronted him, he showed her the platform. She did 5 minutes of research. The platform didn't exist on any financial registry. May's photos were stolen from a Malaysian travel blogger. The returns on the dashboard were fake numbers on a fake website. Richard didn't believe her. He called his daughter jealous, said she didn't want him to be happy. It took his son flying home from another state and both kids sitting him down together before he agreed to try withdrawing the money. The platform asked for a tax clearance fee of $15,000 before releasing funds. That's when it broke. $340,000. Gone. And honestly, you probably would have done the same thing. Not the investment part, the trust part. Richard wasn't looking for money. He was looking for someone to talk to after losing the person he talked to every day for 35 years. The scammer didn't start with crypto. She started with conversations about grief. That's not a lazy scam. That's a calculated, methodical psychological operation run from compounds in Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos, where many of the scammers themselves are trafficking victims, forced to work under threat of violence. The FTC reported Americans lost over $12.5 billion to fraud in 2024. Romance scams were one of the fastest growing categories. Experts estimate only about 5% of victims ever report it. One red flag you need to carry with you. If someone you've never met in person asks you to invest money through a platform they recommend, that is the red flag. It doesn't matter how real the connection feels. It doesn't matter how long they waited to ask. If the money flows one direction and you've never shaken their hand, stop, but we're not done. Remember the story I opened with? The couple who lost $840,000 to a member of their own church? This is that story. A 57-year-old high school principal and his wife, a school librarian. Same small town in Ohio. Combined income around $125,000 a year. Not rich, but disciplined. They'd maxed out their retirement contributions every year for 22 years. 403B plans, IRAs, a small brokerage account. Total savings, approximately $840,000. They had a spreadsheet. They had a plan. 18 months from both retiring, there were real estate listings from North Carolina pinned to the refrigerator near their daughter. Then a friend from church introduced them to an investment advisor who specialized in crypto-based retirement strategies. He wasn't a stranger off the internet. He was a member of their community, had an office, business cards, a website with testimonials from people they recognized from town. He told them traditional retirement accounts were losing value to inflation. A crypto-based portfolio could double their money in under 2 years. Wait, it gets worse. He showed them a proprietary platform, performance charts going back 3 years, all showing 15 to 25% annual returns. Client testimonials, a 2% management fee that felt reasonable. And the kicker, he told them they needed to move fast before regulatory changes made this type of strategy unavailable. It's a Tuesday morning. They're sitting across from this man in his office, signing forms. They roll over the 403B accounts, move the IRAs, transfer the brokerage account, everything. $840,000 into a platform controlled by one person. For 6 months, the platform shows steady growth. Their balance hits $920,000. They start talking about retirement dates, looking at houses in North Carolina. Then, one morning, the advisor's phone goes straight to voicemail. His office is locked. His website is offline. The platform was a front. No crypto portfolio. The performance charts were fabricated. The testimonials were either fake or from early investors paid with later investors' money. A Ponzi scheme. Classic structure. Crypto packaging. The FBI got involved. The advisor was arrested 9 months later in Florida. The money was gone, spent on a second home, luxury cars, and gambling. Recovery estimates. Investors might see 10 to 15 cents on the dollar. Maybe, in 3 to 5 years, through bankruptcy proceedings. They lost $840,000. 22 years of saving. Both of them went back to work the following school year. The real estate listings came off the refrigerator. Retirement was off the table. You'd think that was the end of it. It wasn't. Because here's what makes affinity fraud so devastating. Every signal we're taught to look for was faked. Personal connection, physical presence, track record. This wasn't a stranger in a Telegram group. This was a man vouched for by a friend from church, with an office and a handshake and other clients who seemed to be doing well. The SEC has flagged affinity fraud as one of the most dangerous and underreported forms of investment scam. It works by exploiting trust within communities, churches, cultural groups, professional networks, military veterans organizations. Bernie Madoff's scheme was affinity fraud. It ran for decades inside a tight social network where everyone trusted everyone. 3 things that would have caught this. First, any legitimate investment advisor is registered with FINRA. You can check their credentials for free at brokercheck.finra.org. Takes 2 minutes. If someone managing your money isn't registered, immediate disqualification. No exceptions. Second, no legitimate advisor will ever tell you to move all your money to one platform they control. Diversification isn't just about asset types. It's about custodians. Your money should be held at a regulated institution. Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard. Not on a proprietary platform run by one person. Third, guaranteed returns don't exist. If someone promises 15 to 25% consistently, they're either lying or running a Ponzi scheme. The S&P 500's average annual return over the last century is about 10%. Anyone consistently beating that without risk is selling something that isn't real. 22 years. That's what was stolen. Not just money, time they can never get back. 3 stories. A nurse who answered a phone call. A retired engineer looking for connection after losing his wife. A couple who trusted a member of their own church with everything they had. The common thread isn't stupidity, it's trust. Every one of these scams was engineered from the ground up to look trustworthy. The caller ID, the 5 weeks of grief conversations, the office and the business cards. Scammers don't succeed because victims are careless. They succeed because they're professionals, and their entire business model is built on making lies look exactly like the truth. Americans lost over $12.5 billion to fraud in 2024. That's the reported number. The real total is almost certainly higher. Way higher. If any of these stories hit you, share this video with the person in your life who picks up every phone call, who trusts too easily, who's searching for connection online. It might be the most important link you send them this year. We drop new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Real stories about the financial decisions that changed people's lives and what you can do to protect yourself. If you want stories we don't put on YouTube, plus a weekly breakdown of the biggest scams people are falling for right now, the newsletter link is in the description. It's free. Sleep well. Check your accounts.